Hey guys, it's Koogly again with another video. Well, it's been a while, okay? I feel like it's been a while because a lot of changes has happened, a lot of things have been going on. Now, my last video, I believe, before this period, I have edited a few ROM reviews which will hopefully come up before this video does, but now let me address this. I got the OnePlus 7 Pro. I've been trying out different stuff with it. Used Oxygen OS for a vast majority of things. In stock form, the main reason being I had work to do. I was incredibly sick, okay? The day I got my phone, I was dizzy, I couldn't think straight, my nose was running, I had high BP. I mean, I'm talking 150, 104. That was my BP at the time. So yeah, it wasn't very good for me. I have been suffering from a very, very bad case of viral fever. It's just not good. The problem then came up that because I was away and I had this illness, I had to go for my medicals right at that time for my job opportunity. They asked me to do a medical for that, so I had to be on pretty strong medication to get that illness away so that I can appear for the medical and be normal. That made me incredibly weak. I was bedridden. About 2 days after that, I was able to go for my medicals, and I don't know, it was 2 days or a week, I don't remember, everything is a blur, and then come back. But then, well, of course, there is work to do because, well, I'm getting accepted into a different company, so I had work to do, I had courses to attend. Thankfully, it was at my home itself. I didn't have to travel anywhere for the courses. It was in-home course. All that has been happening for a while now, and well, of course, in the meantime, I couldn't get anything done. So for that, I had to have my personal daily driver, whichever it is. In this case, it was the OnePlus 7 Pro, to be in absolutely stock condition where I can't really afford for it to malfunction at any time, so I couldn't use any custom ROMs. I did use the XXX No Limits and the Renovate Ice Magic mods though, because those are based on OS and it works really well for me, so I didn't have any issues with it. I was able to go through my day perfectly fine, no issues. There were also reports that custom ROMs are not really ready because there was issues with the vibration motors and all that. I wanted to wait for them and experience Oxygen OS as it is for the most part, and I did get to experience it, and I'm really liking it. Oxygen OS, I would rather use Oxygen OS than a lot of the other custom ROMs available. I mean, AOSP is cool, but I mean, Oxygen OS is just so much cooler. It has so many good features and it just works on a device. I'm seriously happy about it. Oxygen OS, I believe I have explored everything which I wanted to explore with it. Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 7 is better than Oxygen OS which was on the OnePlus 6T. I have to say that because I really like it. There are great features which I use. I understand that a lot of people may not share my opinion on this because there are a lot of things which Oxygen OS is missing, but thankfully those are the features which I don't really use in custom ROMs either. Like always on display. Yeah, Oxygen OS I don't think it'll ever have always on display, and I don't really believe in that either because I don't really care too much about that. I like battery life better, more than just having the display on all the time. And for some reason, the Renovate Ice ROM on the 7 Pro doesn't have always on option in that. It was available with 6T. I believe it was something to do with the horizon light option being broken. I don't use always on display even on my custom ROM, so I'm okay with that. Now that brings us to 3 days back, or 25th. I actually decided to try out a custom ROM, and of course it had to be the Havoc OS. And man, every time this happens a lot, where I believe that, hey, Oxygen OS is all I need, I don't need any other custom ROM, and I try out a custom ROM and just like, oh god, I remember now what I've been missing. I remember now what I wanted. That is basically what I'm feeling right now. I'm running Havoc ROM right now. I mean, this is made by the lead developer, one of the lead developers for Havoc OS. I'm really, really liking it. It is an extremely good custom ROM available for the OnePlus 7 Pro. It is not without its kinks. It has a lot of options available. There are a few issues with it which I mentioned, which I will be making a ROM review for it, so stay tuned for that. But man, there are a lot of things to like about it. I think Havoc ROM is probably the prettiest ROM available for the OnePlus devices, or any devices for that matter. I like the pixel style, I like small font, I like more real estate and all that stuff. minimalist design, and it is a very minimalist kind of a ROM. Been using Havoc for about 2 days now. It's the 25th July version. People have been saying the 25th July version is probably the best version of it till date. Of course, it is going to improve. There are still a few things which I do want to mention. If you are trying out the Havoc OS or any custom ROM for that matter, my guide on the OnePlus 6T for flashing custom ROM is still working fine. I used it. The only difference which I did in this ROM for this one is that the developer says to flash the custom ROM also on both the slots. I did that. I have Havoc ROM on both A and B partition. It's working fine, and Magisk needs to be 9.4 Canary update and not the 9.3 stable version for some reason. I'm not really entirely sure, but I went with his word, and it's working pretty fine. Another thing which I do want to mention is that the CTS safety profile test does not pass out of the box. You will have to use the Magisk hide props tweak and manually input a fingerprint for that. It's just one extra step which you will need to do. For that, you also need BusyBox, which, well, I mean, if you are someone who uses Magisk, you know how to do it. You can just install the modules. It should work pretty fine. Few issues still remain. I'm not going to say it's the perfect ROM. It definitely is not. It has a lot of issues. I think a lot of issues revolve around the ambient display sensor and the proximity sensor, because this is a new implementation for OnePlus, I guess. I had similar issues with the OxygenOS 9.5.9, which was a previous version of OxygenOS before the current version, which I believe is 9.5.10. I had issues where the brightness, adaptive brightness was just bonkers, would just not be where I wanted. And I'm having the same issues with the Havoc ROM also, where whenever I have a bright white page, for example Instagram, whenever I launch it, the brightness just ramps up on its own. I'm willing to say that it is because the ambient display sensor, ambient light sensor is underneath the display, and whenever the screen shows white images, it detects that the ambient light is also brighter and it ramps up the brightness of the screen. Just a catch-22 where it just keeps on cranking up the brightness. Another thing is that one of the best things which I like about a custom ROM, especially Havoc ROM, is the ambient display, the active display option. I don't use always on, but I do love the pickup, hand wave and pocket mode of this option. It just works really well. On this device though, hand wave works, the pickup sensor doesn't work as well. It sometimes it detects very late, sometimes it's just normal. So yeah, I mean, it's not consistent, which was an issue with the 60 ROMs also previously during its first life cycle. It is what it is. It's going to be that for some time, I believe, until the ROMs are mature. For the amount of time the ROM has been out, I think it is pretty mature, or it's very fast evolving for our device, and I'm really happy with that. The developer for it's called Shady. He is an amazing guy. He has all the features, like, seriously good. I admire his work. That is the OnePlus 7 Pro custom ROM news. Another thing which I do want to mention is that the Havoc ROM on the 6T had a very notoriously bad kernel, I believe, because the developer himself would ask us to change the kernel for something else, like Smurfs kernel, or I found Neutrino kernel and also Skydragon to be great. But for the 7 Pro, the inbuilt kernel is pretty good. I'm really happy with the inbuilt kernel on this one. The battery life is pretty awesome. I'm getting consistent idle rains of 1% anytime actually, and I'm getting the active rains consistently about 10 to 11%, which I would consider as a very good score for this device. Do also note that this device has 1440p display and also 90 Hz refresh rate. With the new version of Havoc, you can control the refresh rate, which is cool. If you're traveling or something and you want the Atmos best battery life, you can turn it up to 60 Hz. You will notice the difference. I would like to have the resolution switcher also. Yeah, that's where I am at right now. I'm actually using Smurfs kernel on Havoc ROM right now just to test out how it is with a custom kernel, if it's better than the stock kernel or if it's just something more customizable. From my initial testing, which is very, very basic or very short, I haven't found it to be much better. Everything works. I don't have any issues with anything other than that. It doesn't feel like it's a better option than the stock kernel, at least not at this moment. I will be testing it to the full complete 24-hour cycle and make a judgment on that. But for now, stock kernel seems to be ballin'. I like it. So yeah, that is pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Just a little update that I'm back and I will be continuing with the ROM reviews. Of course, Moto G5 ROM reviews are also coming, which is coming soon. I am planning on making a ROM review today for the Moto G5, which will be there soon.